Remember those TV ads for Lynx aftershave? The one that sticks in my mind was set on a bus in the glaring heat of a foreign country which seemed to be in the middle of an armed insurrection. On board are loads of ugly civilians, most of them wrinkly old ladies, and a sultry Latin American chick who looks like she'd be, a bit mucky, given half the chance. But of course the ad wouldn't be complete without one particular passenger, Lynx bloke. The atmosphere is hot, stuffy and cramped, or blistered breath and body odour, not to mention unbearably tense. Suddenly, the bus jolts. Everyone looks uncomfortable. Then, rolling down the centre aisle, we see what appears to be a grenade. Gasps of horror. All the passengers paint their pants brown. Except, of course, for Lynx bloke, who strolls over, picks it up, smiles smugly, and pops it back in his pocket, because of course it wasn't a grenade at all, silly, it was a can of Lynx. Sultry Latin American chick pounces admiringly at Lynx bloke, and up comes the slogan Lynx, because first impressions last. Fine, except it's total bollocks. For starters, only a complete prick would drop his toiletries on a crowded bus in a war zone and then fail to apologise after inadvertently scaring the shit out of everyone. And anyway, first impressions don't always last. You want proof? Just ask almost any married couple. Or play Outlaws. Because when you start playing Outlaws, it feels downright cruddy. Outlaws is a Doom-style 3D shoot-'em-up, as opposed to a Quake-style 3D shoot-'em-up. The engine, it has to be said, is a bit too 1995, and 2 years is a long time in video game technology. Okay, it can run an 800 by 600 resolution, but fundamentally, it's just an enhanced version of the Dark Forces engine, which wasn't all that amazing when it first appeared. Furthermore, the frame rate is a touch slow, it chugs on a P90, and while the cutscenes are superb, the in-game cartoon graphics look clumsy, with some unforgivably rough-looking barnyard animals marring the first level completely. In fact, my first impression of Outlaws was so negative, I was all set to write a piece of venomous, scowling sarcasm, during which I chastised LucasArts for blotting their hitherto relatively unblemished copybook. But now, having spent a downright embarrassing amount of time playing the damn thing, I've been forced to re-evaluate my position, which currently is this. Despite the off-putting engine, Outlaws rocks. As for the plot, yeah, it's unusual to find unfolding storylines in games of this type, especially ones with entertaining cutscenes. But I won't harp on, because it's perfunctory stuff really, and ex-bounty hunter returns to avenge his wife's murder and blah blah blah. Besides, I found the secondary mode of play with no storyline more compelling. The gameplay's the thing. Outlaw succeeds because it's unlike any other Doom clone you care to mention. In fact, it's a bit like a bizarre marriage between Doom and virtual cops. It's far more realistic. 1 or 2 shots will kill you. Your weapons require constant manual reloading, and you can't just wade into a location firing willy-nilly and hope for the best, because A, your bullets will miss their targets, and B, someone will shoot you in the face and you will die. The enemy snipes at you from windows, darts out from behind a wall with a pair of blazing 6-shooters, ducks for cover and hurls dynamite at you. It's dangerous out there. Death comes so rapidly and so repeatedly, you're forced to rethink all the gung-ho, fire and forget tactics that games like Duke Nukem hammered into your impressionable head, and concentrate on improving your stealth and exactitude instead, all of which serves to make it doubly satisfying when you do well, and draws you back time and again for more of the same. Since Outlaws is set in the 3 days of yesteryear, you can forget about laser cannons and electronic proximity mines, although bizarrely not about the surprisingly high-tech HUD maps, but we'll ignore that. The weapons you'll be hunting with will be described as quaint by the experts on Antiques Roadshow, and it's hard to imagine them saying that about a plasma grenade. Each weapon has to be manually reloaded, and there's 2 methods of use. Here they are in order. The 45 pistol, the original classic 6-shooter. Despite its apparent weirdiness, a headshot from this little critter is enough to give all but the burliest of villains a bad skull day. Press the alternative fire button and you can loose off all 6 shots in that really cool way that involves repeatedly slamming the hammer with the palm of your hand. There's probably a proper word for that, but I don't know what it is. Then there's the 44 rifle, my favourite weapon. May look a bit puny, but it's quick, efficient, and carries more bullets than anything else save the Gatling gun. Best of all, if you find a rifle scope, you can carry out some trade cool, long-range sniping. Got over shotguns, of course, and here they come in 3 distinct flavours. Single barrel, pretty poo, double barrel, pretty deadly, and sawn-off, limited range but very effective. They all have one main disadvantage: reloading is a constant, time-consuming chore. But then there's the main advantage to consider as well. They make you feel like a right hard-nose. For melee fans, there's the Bowie knife. Surprisingly effective, the humble Bowie is the weapon of choice for those aiming for a silent but violent approach. It can be thrown or thrust into the face, which, assuming you're as sick as me, is hilarious. For the demolitions expert, good old-fashioned dynamite. Light it with your cigar, Clint style, toss it to a friend, and see their face light up before it slams into the wall on the other side of the room. Aside from its obvious mass murdering potential, dynamite can be gainfully employed for blowing holes through walls, where many a sectarian can be found. And at the top of the food chain, the Gatling gun, the weapon that demands respect. You can't run with the Gatling gun, I mean it sits on a kind of tripod after all, but you can silence an entire town with one. Watch the bad guys come over all Tetley. 10,000 perforations to let innards flood out. And there's no denying that Outlaws also employs the talents of LucasArts' sound engineers to great effect. Aside from the rousing spaghetti western soundtrack, complete with whip crack and harmonica workouts, there's the childish taunts of the enemy to spur you on. You see, this is one game where you end up really hating the bad guys, the little fucks. They're snidey little bastards who like nothing better than ducking down behind barrels yelling, "Hey, Mr. Lawman!" in a mocking tone, and then popping up unexpectedly to shoot you in the back of the head. Their incessant name-calling is genuinely amusing, albeit a tad repetitive, and it's all delivered with a delicious slack-jawed southern drawl, the kind of accent in which the word genuine is pronounced genuine. Play it for a while, you'll soon be annoying your friends by using them as drop as a hat. Play it for long enough, you'll soon be annoying your friends by using them as drop of a hat catchphrases. My only criticism is that some of the taunts aren't stinging enough. The strongest is probably, "It's too bad you got manure for brains." I'd have preferred sarcastic sexual advances. You know, the sort of thing. "You sure are pretty, Mr. Lawman." "Hey, come here and kiss me, you big burly man, you." Or perhaps just "Squeal, bigger squeal." Here's hoping LucasArts address this important issue in any future sequel. It's only when you're suitably addicted to the gameplay you start to notice all the other good points about the package as a whole. The authentic spaghetti western ambience, the Morricone-inspired opening score is terrific, the faultless presentation, the entertaining level design, generally a little boxy but darn fine nonetheless, the weird undocumented features. If anyone at LucasArts could explain the poodle sporting sunglasses that showed up unexpectedly on one of the levels, I would be most grateful. And the fact that it represents good value for money, big levels, and lots of them. If you were to cast a cursory glance at Outlaws, it would be all too easy to snort with derision. Believe me, all you have to do is play it for a while and you'll find it hard to tear yourself away. Check it out. 83%. Clunky engine, funky game.